Did you hear about Colorado? Did you hear about another prediction that a young Jason Kuna made, a very young Jason Kuna, that said that if this continues, we're going to have absolute third world gangs that will take over our neighborhoods. It's not going to be like we had in different parts of the United States, different times in the United States, when you would have like a particular white ethnic group would come in and then they would have criminals just exploit their own little ethnic group. No, like in their own little ghetto, in their own little shtetl, in their own little sequestered area where they put themselves, and they were going to go in there and they just exploited them. No, that's not what it is. No, it is hardcore third world shithole country, gang, just villainous, disgusting gangs, anti-white terrorists that will take over the neighborhoods. Yet again, vindicated from all the way back. I've been saying this. Oh, and you know how many so-called good old boys, they're hard to find. There are a lot of guys out there that will call themselves good old boys that are just really fat, diabetes, sugar-eating, cancer-ridden losers, okay? And they're like, it couldn't happen because we're in America. You know, we got guns. Yeah, the moment you begin shooting them is the moment that they shoot back, and then you have to worry about dying in the hail of bullets, and then the authorities come and take your white ass to jail. And nothing happens to the animals, to the anti-white terrorist animals that have come to injure life. And then you're also thinking about, well, what happens when their gang member friends find out? What happens when the cousins from 3 cities over, and then they come looking for my family, retribution style? What then? You won't do anything. And this is happening all across the United States, happening all across the West. I mean, we've been hearing about no-go. You know what a no-go zone is? That's where anti-white terrorists have taken over your neighborhood. And now the white people, because of selfish individualism, they're just like, well, I'm fleeing. All the white people that can't get out of there, they die, they get gang raped behind the lines. That's the selfish individualism of the conservative movement. That's what that is. Of the past, of the ideas of the past, of the white race, the genetics in the white race that aren't going to make it through the bottleneck, or that selfish individualism motivating them. Those are anti-white terrorist gangs taking over your neighborhoods. Well, finally, there is some video footage of it happening, and that gets out on the internet. And so, I don't know, did you see that? Let's take a look. I'm pretty sure most of you have seen it, but let's go ahead and have a look here. This is a rifle. I mean, maybe it's an AR. It's got a scope on it. They all are carrying guns of various types. Mind you, the anti-whites, they want to white erase our norm of self-defense so that we don't have the firearms to defend. Remember, these guys didn't go down and get a license. They didn't go down and get a background check. They're not even in this country legally, I'm told. I mean, I'm not there. But they're not even in this country legally. They got firearms. How did they do it? Well, Jason, you see, if firearms weren't allowed at all, then they wouldn't be able to access firearms. Really? Just like cocaine? Just like methamphetamine? Just like, how many other drugs do you want to talk about? How about the illegal prostitution? How about all of the things that are illegal in the world and that you can access immediately? In fact, it's easier, in all honesty, it's easier for me to leave here and to go to a couple of different places in the district and obtain a firearm that is illegal than it is for me to go to a firearms dealer and fill out all the paperwork and deal with the line and wait for that to go through, and then finally to get my firearm that the government knows all about, knows where I live, knows my background, and all of that. It's easier to get an illegal firearm than it is to get a legal firearm. Can I get an amen? It is easier to get a lot of illegal things than it is to get those same things legally. Can I get an amen? And so, yeah, these people are going to have their firearms. They're going to have explosives. They're going to have all kinds of things. And here they go up room by room. And maybe you don't know. Maybe you haven't dug into this deeply enough. Maybe you haven't dug in. But before going to apartment after apartment, they went to the people who owned these facilities. They're going to other landlords. They're finding out where the landlords live. And they are going to the landlords and shaking them down. Aurora, Colorado, has known about this for some time. Other cities have known about, check it out for yourself. Don't listen to me. Don't believe me. Believe Dana Bash, because she's really pressing, for the truth and all things especially with Kamala over there. Come swallow her, really pushing hard for the answers. But they're going out, they're finding the landlords, they're shaking them down. And in this particular 3 complexes, they are moving into the actual apartments and shaking down the people who live in the apartments, okay? And yeah, it might not be. And you know what I've seen? This is absolutely repulsive, I got to say. Have you seen it? Can I get an amen if you have seen conservative content creators, whether it be short clips or long streams like we do here, whatever it might be, who are talking about how we got to have gated neighborhoods now, and we got to put together as a new defense for ourselves and move to these little protected places, and everything that could be as selfishly individualistic as you can imagine. Nothing but cravens. That's what the white race is composed of. Nothing but abstraction cowards. They'll do anything but point out that the target of all of this is the white race, our norms, our customs, our law and order, and then defend white people who are maybe not themselves, maybe not immediately related to them, but defend. No, the white race doesn't want to do that. The most disgusting of all the races, in my opinion, on planet Earth, the most selfishly individualistic, disgusting cowards on the face of planet Earth. But we're going to fix that. We are in the process of fixing it. So here they go. They're showing up. Maybe they're showing up at your grandmother's place. Hey, you don't really see grandma very often, right? Anyhow, you're gaming all the time, you little small dick loser. Look, there's just more and more coming up the stairs. And you all, and for those out there, for those cheesehead, hollow-headed, dimple-brained, hairy dingleberry morons out there, if you had a shootout with these, let's just say the police didn't even care. The police weren't going to come. You had a shootout. Let's say you got real lucky and you did not get killed while killing these people. Their friends are going to come kill you. You're never going to be able to go to work. You're never going to, no, you're not winning. No, it's not going to work. We need to reclaim our destiny. That's the only way that we're going to do this. Look at this. Here's the other thing. I'm seeing, can I get an amen? If you have seen anti-whites, primarily non-white anti-whites, but some white because this is your fucking future, saying, well, what's the difference between paying the white landlord and paying this terrorist gang for rent? What's the difference? Might as well pay the non-white terrorist anti-white gang rather than pay the landlord. Except the gang is not on the hook for anything. The gang is not going to come fix your leaky sink, your broken toilet, your shower that has snakes and feces coming up out of the drain. The gang isn't going to do any of that. The gang is not going to make sure that the trash is taken away. But the way that these people come to this conclusion is they hate the white race. Do you understand that yet? I know the Knights of the White Table do. But those who are new, they're seeing for the first time, you better stay, because if you don't, this is going to find you. And if you run away, they're still going to come after you. It won't be long. They'll get you, they'll get your children, they'll get your brothers and sisters. It's not going to be long. It's coming apart real fast. They won't be collecting the trash. They won't be, but because of the hatred of the white race, they say, why pay the white landlord? Well, because they hate white people. Why do that? Even if he's anti-white or she's anti-white, why do that? Just pay the brown anti-white terrorists that show up with the machine guns at your front door. Oh, I'm sure that's a conservative there that's saying, let's see. What's that going to be about? I'm sure another inept take. I mean, it reminds me. I was laughing so hard. I got to tell you, we'll pull up the next item here because the governor of Colorado, anti-white piece of shit, is saying, "Nah, that's not happening. It's not happening. Don't believe it. Nothing like that is happening in Colorado." By the way, just as a by the by, Aurora, I'm told, now somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, has the city officials of Aurora openly said that we don't want Denver's anti-white bull. They didn't say anti-white, but that's what they're saying. Anti-white bullshit. They openly told the federal government, we don't want any of your millions of scores and hundreds of millions to take these anti-white invaders, intruders. We don't want any of the people, so keep your money. That's what Aurora said. How many out there are thinking right now, especially in Cuckservidom, who are thinking to themselves, well, just don't take their money. Just refuse. Well, apparently the NGOs, along with, of course, working hand in glove with the federal government, getting their money, are just shipping them into Aurora anyhow. They're just moving them. Well, you won't take the money? Well, we're just going to ship them in anyhow. We're just going to put them on vehicles and we're just going to drive them right to your neighborhood. I know it all looks abstract. I know it all looks like that Jason guy and the things they talk about there. It all seems remote until they ship this anti-white garbage to your backyard. Until they ship them to your backyard. Because once they're shipped to your backyard, then you'll realize, whoa, this is real. This is people's lives. This is people's lives ended, people's lives ruined, people raped, people murdered, neighborhoods going under the thumb of anti-white terror gangs that will be at odds with each other. And so you'll have gang warfare, wholesale machine gun fire, just like the rest of, as Donald Trump said, these shithole countries. And they are all shitholes. They are. That's my opinion. All the decapitations, all of the drug wars, all of the drug lords, the leaders of these countries, the leaders, McAfee told you all about, hey, they were the biggest child molester, ringmaster is the head of this Central South American country. The biggest drug runner is the head of this Central South American country. The biggest people smuggler is the head of that. They all just have to be, they're all just scum. They are all anti-white, animalistic scum, raping children, in my opinion. In my opinion, if McAfee is, you have to look into it for yourself. Dana Bash will tell you that kind of thing only happens when white men are in charge. So no way that these brown, red and black and Jewish and all of these others, no way that they could be up to it. Only if it's white men are in charge. Mind you, any white men doing something like that too, as white people, yeah, we kill them. That's what we do as white people. It's kind of our thing. At least that's what we used to be able to do until that was white erased. So yeah, Aurora's like, don't ship them here. We don't want your money. And now they're in shock. In Aurora, they're like, what in the hell's going on? We put our conservative little, size 6 foot down and said, no more. And then what? They have full scale, like militaristic gangs. Not only are you going to have the gangs that are like the mestizo gangs going at it with each other, but and in Europe, we see the different groups of Arab Islamic groups. But in the United States, you'll have all of the above. In the United States, you'll have the mestizo Catholic groups battling each other and battling the Islamic, Arab, and Black groups. Isn't that going to be a fun place to live then? Isn't that? And they're going to be saying, well, that's just civilization. That's just how it works. And make sure, by the way, let's take all that footage of old UK, America, Canada, Australia, Germany, France, Italy. Let's just make sure all of that is white erased from the internet. We don't want them to be able to look back and see that it actually used to be nirvanic, heavenly, before anti-whiteism white erased everything. But I got a picture sent to me. I got to share. We're going to put this lying piece of trash up on the screen in just a minute. And but I got this image, and apparently, and I'm being diplomatic, I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to say, even though this garbage did everything he could to push me out of the explicit white sympathetic sphere. In the back, this guy was always at work slandering yours truly. Real piece of shit, this guy. And somebody sent me a picture of him. He has reemerged after the garbage NJP fell apart, exactly as I said. Totally vindicated with that as well. All garbage people. Sven coming out saying not only could they not save the white race, but they couldn't even lead their dog to take a shit in the woods. And they sent me an image of this guy, and they told me that where he was talking in the live chat, that they were calling him Elvis Presley. They were saying he looked like Elvis Presley. You know, I thought to myself, yeah, he looks like Elvis Presley if Elvis was hideous, Puerto Rican, had Down syndrome, and was born out of the ass of an orangutan. How could this possibly, everybody, I mean, up this motherfucker's ass, a total scumbag, a total loser. Yeah, looks like Elvis. Only if all of what I said ended up being true. Looks just like him. All right. How about Colorado's governor? And he's at odds with the mayor. And that might be in this particular article I'm going to pop up on the screen here in just a moment. The mayor, of course, of Aurora is like, it's war. They're taking over. And the governor, the anti-white governor, is saying, no, there's nothing going on. But if there were, then, you know, I would handle it. Why, of course, would he be gaslighting you on it? Well, because it is a what? Fill it in, community. What do we call this? What do we call it? Hush crimes. They contradict the anti-white narrative, which states what? That non-white people are all good. The only time they ever act bad is when white people, particularly white males, force them to behave badly or so torment them that they end up acting out in their pure innocence, just wrongly put upon long suffering. The chains are upon them. And that's why they gang rape and butcher and decapitate and guts. It's the white man's fault. You're going to sit around more and you're going to stay in their narrative. And that's what it's going to be till the end of days. I'm not bequeathing that to the young of the white race. No, I am putting my foot down, which causes a gap through time and space, not just in the tectonics of planet Earth. And I say enough is enough. All is changing moving forward. Let me just go ahead and pull this garbage up. Have you seen this? And have you heard this totally? And what an example. Probably some of you have already thought about this ahead of me because you're getting so good at the practice of Go Free. What an example of white noir. For people to suddenly grab onto this completely and obviously fictitious idea that Hell's Angels, a white gang, is going to go down there and set things right. And then they've got this footage. And I sat back there and I'm like, Hell's Angels doesn't exist anymore. Okay? It doesn't exist. It's not hyperbole to say it doesn't exist. But you can see in white people so desperate for someone, something to defend us. Even a violent, drug-addled, drug-distributing, low IQ'd gang of criminals that all these white people are showing up. I see them on Instagram. I see them all over the place. And they're like, is it true? Is it, Beth, will you come over here? Is this true that Hell's Angels are going to go stop these brownies down there? Are they going to stop the brownies? No, tard. No vegetable. I mean, usher in the vegetable garden. Usher them in. It's like marching. You can hear the crunching. It's like every time you bite on a vegetable, here comes the vegetables. They are convinced the Hells Angels exist and are going down there to fight the anti-white terrorists. And the footage they show is of these guys rolling up, probably at one of these, like maybe Daytona, Biker Week, something like this. And here you go. Like, I'm like, okay, there goes a $45,000 motorcycle. There goes a $30,000 motor. Oh, there goes a $50,000. Boy, these are some shiny boomer scooters I see going by here. Are you serious? These are the most selfish, individualistic motherfuckers of the white race. These males, these boys and girls on their boomer cycles that everywhere you go, every vacation spot in America. And if I had the money, I don't even have the money to go on vacation. But every time I've gone on vacation in America, I'd love to be able to go on vacation in other countries. That's not happening for yours truly, because the money that is commensurate to the value I provide, which would be hundreds of millions of dollars, not showing up from selfish white people. But these people, they're like goddamn, they're like Beatles. Every vacation spot you show up at, they're just going through the dough that they were able to earn in their generations. And they got their boomer cycle out there, and they're like, well, we're in the penthouse, and they got some weird ass mustache going on. You know what I'm talking about. Now, obviously not everybody who is in these circles, who's going to Sturgis, who looks like that. It's not all like that by any means, but these people are prevalent. They don't give a shit about you. They're not going to go fight some violent Central South American gang. Are you insane? How deep is the white noir of the white race that they're like, please, this fictitious gang of white people on their $50,000 boomer cycles are all going to get together and drive down there to have a shootout and a fight with anti-white terrorists that have nothing to live for. Lives that have zero value whatsoever. They will kill you as quick as look at you, and none of them will care if you kill any of them. None of their family will care. No one will care because their lives are valueless. Seriously. So let's have a look at this garbage governor, Colorado Democrat, you don't say. Jared Polis tells citizens to ignore the video of armed migrant gang taking over apartments. Look at this. You can tell by just looking at this anti-white pig. This fucking breed sow is what I'm calling him, a breed sow, even though ostensibly he's male, but he probably dresses up as a breed sow in private life. He'll soon make it public, and then I'll be blamed because he couldn't have made it public earlier in his life. And he's had to suffer dressing up as a breed sow and squealing in private. Can we bring shaming back? Colorado Democrat Governor Jared Polis is ridiculing claims that violent gun-toting migrant gangs, you mean anti-white terrorist gangs, are taking over apartment buildings in Aurora, Colorado, despite clear video evidence and confirmation issued by the town's own mayor. I don't know if I have, maybe I do have up. We'll take a look as I go through here. But it's this woman, the only reason there's any footage, I mean, folks, this didn't just start. Please understand, this has been happening here and elsewhere. The law enforcement are not doing shit about it. not doing shit. You would think there would be video footage. Where is the news? The news, the anti-white mainstream news are being called about this happening. The people are desperate. Both white and non-white people are suffering this anti-whiteism. The non-white people are collateral damage to the white erasure of our norms in policing, in having a country, how we define a country and how we defend a border. The non-white people are collateral damage in these locales. They've been reaching out and begging for help. And the media, mainstream media, since they're dominated by anti-whites, are not saying anything. Why? Hush crimes. It doesn't fit the anti-white narrative. It doesn't fit the anti-white narrative. You better be telling people that we are streaming. This is our gathering. We are live. You better be sharing it. You better be letting people know, because nothing else is working but this. So if you just want to sit around, if this is going to be your just little private thing that you do, it's your private, dirty little secret that you do, then you're going to end up going to hell with all of the people who are in these neighborhoods being taken over. Finally, one woman decides she's going to put up some surveillance cameras to get video of what's happening all over. I mean, we hear about it here in the nation's capital, all right? And she is the one who got this footage and uploaded it. And there's more footage. And where is it? Why isn't it on the main? Of course, it's a hush crime. You say it's a hush crime. You don't say because it contradicts Marxism or because Jews don't want it to be shown. None of that benefits white people. Those are abstractions, and it makes you an abstraction coward. It makes you a loser. It makes you scum. And why are you scum? Because our children are being born into this hell because of your cowardice. And every day is worse. Every single day is worse. This week, video has gone viral showing migrants, anti-white terrorists, carrying pistols and rifles through the halls of an apartment complex in Aurora, a suburb near Denver. According to reports, the anti-white terrorists are members of the dangerous Venezuelan streak. Now, here is where you have who gives a shit. This is where Cuck, hey, Cuck writing this. The problem is that they are anti-white terror gangs. The particular name that they take for themselves in this particular gang is irrelevant. It doesn't benefit us. We can't work with that. It doesn't make a people out of the white race. We're going to talk about another enormous victory that I'm having, and a great conversation that I had, really telling conversation with anti-whites, and you can look into these threads and see these conversations, where I say, my people, and the anti-whites laugh. They know the white race doesn't have a people. They know that's why you lose. They know that's how they're able to victimize us. They laugh when I say my people. They know if we had a people, if we identified as a people and sought individual well-being by way of group well-being, that they would be finished. So what ends up happening when the cuck content creators are like, well, it's trendy, agurala, however the scum pronounces it. What then? What's the approach? Well, then we just got to get rid of this gang. We just got to address this gang. How does that help white people? How does that help white identity? How does that help make us a people? How does that put an actual end to this? It doesn't. Cucks, cowards, it doesn't. Which has exploded in membership here in the United States as a result of the Biden-Harris border crisis. Again, what's the problem there? Biden-Harris border crisis? Well, the problem is that all you got to do is get rid of Biden and Harris, and then the border crisis is fixed. Is it? Was the border under Trump, 2016 moving forward, was it impermeable? No. They were still coming across. Not as many, but they were still, you would think that if all you had to do was get rid of the the Democrat in office, that it would be completely stopped. All the holes would be patched. There would be machine gun nests, pill boxes out there. Brah! You would think it would be that, right? But no. They're still pouring in. So you don't say it's just Biden and Harris, which, by the way, these cucks were already making a big enough of an error. And talk about these campaign losers, Chris LaCivita and Susie, what was it, Wiles? Susie Wiles. Here you have what easily, at worst, was a 50-50 that Biden was going to stay in the race. And they had Trump only talk about Biden. It would talk about a colossal mistake. Everything that Trump said should have been Biden-Harris. Because the odds are that if there was going to be anybody other than Biden, the odds are that it would be Harris. Big, heavy odds are that it would have been Harris. Because there's just no way to pass over. So he should have been saying Biden-Harris in all of his critiques. Instead, he was just saying Biden. Then they throw this wrench in. Like, talk about what? What? I thought, what happened to the 5D chess, bitches? What happened to the 5D chess? And now it's like, whoa, I've got to recalibrate for the new Harris campaign. So instead of calling this a Biden-Harris border crisis, this is an anti-white border crisis. Anti-white border crisis. Same video. Look at the rifle here. I don't know what it is. Hey, some of our gun enthusiasts, take a look at that rifle. What is that? Is that an AR? Somebody jump in or what is it if it's not? Let's keep moving. Reports say the gang members have taken over several apartment buildings and have gone unit to unit, telling residents to give them their rent money instead of sending it to the owners of the buildings. Despite the clear evidence in the video, though, the state's Democrat governor, Jared Polis, is ridiculing those who claim that apartment buildings are being taken over by migrant gangs. So he ridicules those who claim that. Polis spokesman Shelby Wyman says that the state is standing by to support the local police department with assistance. Can you believe sending like the local county cops in there? No. How about we send something better, like the U.S. Rangers? How about we send that in there and kill every one of these motherfuckers? How about that? They'll be waiting to send in state troopers from the Colorado Bureau of Investigation if needed. Wyman said that according to police intelligence, this purported invasion is largely a feature of Danielle Jurinsky's imagination. Wyman also claimed that crime in Aurora dropped between 2022 and 23. Remember this. Whenever a Democrat opens their mouth and they want to talk about some statistic, that they are massaging the numbers, they are changing the definitions, they are every single time over the years, especially when I was working on the Hill, and Democrats would say something like this, I would investigate, and in every single 100% case, they had manipulated how the things were defined, how they were tallied, whether they were talking about per capita or percentage, or it's always a lie when it comes from a Democrat. Always a lie. And it could be a lie in the sense that, like, with our economic struggles right now and inflation, they'll find a spot where it's been climbing and climbing for years. They'll find where it dips, and they'll say, it's dropped over the last 2 months. So our program is working. They have no shame because the only objective is anti-whiteism. It's in the service of an anti-white objective. The spokesman slammed local Aurora officials, adding that Governor Polis, quote, really hopes that the city council members in charge stop trashing their own city when they are supposed to keep it safe. Oh, so you're bad-mouthing your own city when you're saying, oh my God, these anti-white terror gangs, which is what they should be called, cuck writers and content creators, anti-white terror gangs. The attack on council member Jurinsky's integrity, though, does not square with the video. In fact, it also seems to diverge widely from comments by Aurora's own mayor, Mike Kaufman, who has coughed out that several apartment complexes have recently become hotbeds of gang activity. Kaufman told Fox News that there are several buildings in the city that have, quote, fallen to Venezuelan gangs. Again, he's wrong there. He should be saying anti-white terror gangs, but okay. The mayor added that the buildings in question were being used as state-funded migrant housing, which is why the gangs were able to take them over so easily and quickly. Jurinsky placed the blame squarely on the failed Biden-Harris migrant crisis, the anti-white invader crisis, the invasion of the country crisis, other people might call it. The problem this is a problem that is not just a Denver metro area problem. It stems from the failed southern border. This is not just happening in Aurora, Colorado. I cannot stress that enough. But we need to be getting other municipalities, other agencies to talk about this, because this is something that could potentially put a black eye on the organization or the city or the area that you represent. A black eye. I'll be putting lead poisoning. That's what I would be doing if I were in charge. I would say, we're going to be ensuring that all of these anti-white terrorists suffer lead poisoning of the highest degree. And it won't be from the paint chips. Immigrations and Custom Enforcement Field Officer, former Republican, blasted Polis for his claims that the gang problem is somehow imaginary. Quote, so now Jared Polis believes this is all made-up theater. Yes, Governor, we hired a Hollywood director and filmed this to make you look bad. Oh, he's being so funny. He's being so funny. He's really got him when he does that, right? When he's being snarky. No, the Biden-Harris administration caused this problem, and you advocated for it. All right, let's see. So you can see everything's going to shit. What more is there to say? Moving into the neighborhoods, taking over the neighborhoods. But you say to yourself, does the federal government really know what's going on? You say that to yourself, right? You're like, does the federal government really know what's happening around the country? Are they aware of how many anti-white terrorist gang members are coming into the country? You ask yourself, they couldn't possibly know, because surely they would do something, right?
Telling me that DHS has acknowledged that Venezuela, for example, is emptying their prisons and their rehabilitation centers with the understanding you get out if you leave here and go to the United States.
Yes.
And DHS has, in writing, said, we know that's happening. We know they're coming here. We're processing them in and have no idea where they are.
Correct.
Wow. Wow. So it's kind of like anti-whites like to anti-white. I mean, that's just anti-whites anti-whiting, isn't it? Of course. The anti-whites, DHS, they dominate DHS. There isn't a singular person you can get rid of or a group of anti-whites that you could get rid of and fix this. They have the gravitational pull of the anti-white phenomenon. So you have to address the social morality of Western civilization, which is anti-whiteism. which is caused by white people's inclination to selfish individualism. You've got to address that, and then you can fix everything. You don't address it, you can't fix shit. And you say to yourself, oh, but I think you can. Really, dipshit? The way you've been doing it for generations, and it just keeps getting worse, right? It keeps getting worse. But hey, you'll be able to fix it, right? You'll be able to fix it because you'll be able to do that ideology or vehicle right this time. We are here today where Department of Homeland Security is totally dominated by anti-whites because the social morality, you can even go to the people who work at DHS who aren't openly radical, fanatical anti-whites, and they will signal anti-whiteism to you. They will villainy signal it to you. But more than just a signal, they hold that same morality as their morality. That's the reality of how that's the control over the mind. That's how it works. So, the anti-whites at DHS know that this is happening. They know that specifically that they are bringing these people in here. And then they're very happy with you calling them the name of the gangs. They're very happy with you calling them that sort of thing. They're very happy with you identifying them as anything other than anti-white terror troops. They want you to call them anything else. I can't believe that the so-called like opposition reactionary, oh, we're so edgy, it just like bends over and spreads their ass cheeks for the concepts that the anti-whites want them to use. You're such a bunch of edgy clowns is what you are. You say what do you want us to call them? Let me just bend over. Let me just get over here. Go ahead. Do whatever you want. Just call them whatever they want you to call them. Then you're being edgy.